This is DJ Train. I thought I'd hop on here and do a video. Okay, there's videos that I've been promising that I was going to do. This will be part one. I'm not sure how many parts there will be in this series, but I'm going to break it up in 15 to 20 minute increments so that way YouTube don't butcher it when I upload a video. Okay. This has been hard to talk about because this is our situation in over 2 years we've been dealing with. And the problem is I had to watch how I talk about this. Sorry, my eyes are not connected to the camera. I don't know what's going on. But usually Ricardo does story hour, but I've got to tell this one. On a cool, brisk day in February, 2 years ago, a young man about 14 years old decided to leave while doing chores. Pulled a very dangerous stunt by walking down the road that we live on. And mind you, there is no shoulder. Very dangerous. The first time he makes it into town, sees Buddy, they get him to call his mom. And then all is well and good, and he goes and he winds up spending a night at a friend's house. They were friends of ours at the time. Which I think was a big mistake, because he was able to come in and came back the next day. And sorry, this is hard for me to tell. But I think due to my therapy and getting over my depressions, I've got to talk about it. The second night came along, he hadn't been home 5 minutes. And he took off again. He asked his uncle if there was anything he needed to do, and uncle didn't think nothing of it and said take the trash out to the road. Well, anyways, the boy hitchhiked his way back to town. Wound up in the emergency room, etc. Said that he had been beat with a belt. Mind you, he'd been there 5 minutes. The uncle was in the room. He knew where the mother stood, and he knew where the kids stood the entire 5 minutes. But that didn't matter when it came down to it, because later on that night after he left, the authorities came and talked to the uncle and the mom and learned of the accusations that were being laid down upon them. And they wound up disproving the lie. They basically proved that the chair was causing the issue. Other said authorities didn't believe that. They drug it and they, that night they went back to their friend's house and they stayed 7 months. All during that time, many visits between the mom and the daughters and the nephew only came once, maybe twice. He did come to the said the authorities' office several times, but when it came down to supervised visitation in another office, he kept going. His uncle was basically booted out of the session, and that was the day he left. The nephew spent many hours in family counseling, running his mom down and telling her she did this and did that. We all know it's not true. That went on for quite some time. And then, a year ago, last October, they got moved to a foster situation. They got removed out of the care of the friend's home. You know, I'm sure there's some I'm leaving out. I'm having trouble processing this anyway. Meanwhile, the uncle tried to put a GoFundMe up on the Facebook. He got $50. And he was very appreciated, very blessed about so. But what people don't understand is $25 here, $25 there doesn't buy stuff to fix homes. He was trying to do a fundraiser for both getting a car and getting material and tools to do things. He was asking for $10,000 in that GoFundMe fundraiser, and I don't think he was outrageous, but a lot of people told him so. And when it ended and they went to this other place, he ended the GoFundMe. He was so upset with people on Facebook. Okay, I know, we'll pause for a minute. I know we're all struggling. And I get that. But the two people that donated to the guy for said repairs and car, they really didn't have a lot at all to do. And the lady that was helping him out at the time with transportation and everything, she was doing all she could to get the money for gasoline and everything. That was a crazy year. Anyways, they went into a foster situation, and from that point, new allegations came up. I will not talk much about the allegations, which they're not true. They just basically run the mom down. And when they couldn't get one thing to stick, they invented something new. Like 6-foot tall grass. The house smells putrid. May I go on? No. That's going to be the hardest part for me to do, and that's going to have to be another video. So, let's get to part 1. They were about 7 minutes out on stopping part 1. Court goes good. Court seems to be moving along. And then one court session, it winds up being a hearing, and the mom and the lawyer wasn't there. Mom was outside, but they wouldn't let her in. But being as a hearing that it was, the lawyer did not have to attend. What had happened is the previous court date, the mom's lawyer pretty much beat out everything they said. And they were going smoothly, rather smoothly. And then they didn't get a word for a month. They brought their own lawyer into the mix, or lawyer. They brought their own, another judge into the mix, and the judge ruled in their favor to move towards making the foster face a permanent deal. That's been dragging on for some time now. But all the many trips to a town shouldn't be going to. The visits are almost an hour away. So it's basically a 2-hour trip, round trip. That count the 1 hour that the mom is allowed to see the baby and her 2 other ones. And then she has to leave 10 minutes early. It's kind of not right. But they cut down her hours because one of her daughters was not settling down. My thing is, that sounds like kids. All kids are very, very energetic and one thing and another. So, as I'm going to wrap up part 1, you got to remember this is going to be a wild ride. It's going to be a wild roaster. Next part possibly come out tomorrow or the next day. We'll talk about court dates. We'll talk about meetings, etc. This is a very sad situation. And the bad thing is we have said agencies that are taking kids away and little or nothing and thinking they can get it, and it winds up dragging down when they don't have any evidence, and then they wonder why it's not moving. Do everything you can within the law to keep your children in your home. But the closing of this part 1, remember, spend time with your kids every day. You may never know, tomorrow they may be gone. I have spent the last 2 years, missing them. And can't talk to them, can't call them on the phone, can't do any of those things. They're afraid that, I don't know. But it's sad. It really is. The hardest part. Now, the mom can see the daughter's at hesitation, but uncle's not around, invited. Like I said, the uncle was booted out a long time ago. Me, the uncle, whatever, still me. Yeah, from now on, I'm not going to dance around about it. I'm just going to, that I have permission to talk about it's me. So I'll say if it's me instead of the uncle. Well, we're coming to the 15-minute mark. If you have stayed tuned this long, I really appreciate it. There's more to come on this story. Like I said, I'm probably going to do tomorrow a video. And hopefully this uploads right, because the last time I did a video, I had to do it in 2 parts. And it wasn't really that long. Okay, yeah, I'm getting really tired. But I want you guys to hear the story. Yeah, in the next coming parts, we're also going to talk about said families that didn't think that this should be. I won't be mentioning no names, but they didn't think they should be. And one thing and another. Alright, everybody have a good night. I know this video is going to probably get uploaded for tomorrow morning. which is my time. So good morning, good night, or good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're listening to this. Like I said, not all of my videos are going to be doom and gloomy like this, but I've got to get this story out before I can start doing any real videos on YouTube. So, anyways, it's probably not going to be a long series, but like next series, it's probably going to be talking about different things, the ridiculous things that's happened in the last 2 years, one thing another. All right, there's my cue. It is I went almost a minute over. I apologize. You have fun one today and a better one tomorrow. We be gone. Bye bye.